It's
Oh my goodness.
Jamie from Texas calling in to talk Heathen. What's up, Jamie?
Are you my transporter clone? Is that what this is? No.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm English. And I'm hoping that you're not bored of my voice. I feel like I keep getting the wonderful chance to call in and you accept my calls, and I'm just paranoid that everyone's like,
Jamie. We never get bored of the British. The British always have the hottest takes on this show, honestly. So go ahead.
Well, I definitely have the hottest flesh right now because I'm in Austin and my air conditioning isn't.
No.
Wait, you're in Austin and you're not here in the studio right now? What's up with that, Jamie?
Offense.
I couldn't make it this week and this month. I'll try.
Tisk.
And I wish I had, because I would have been able to get Jamie and we could have had a sword fight, because there can be
only one. Yeah.
You guys got it. Okay.
I was gonna say, do you have a favored sword? Because I do.
I did. I'm a weeb, and I did EIDO for a couple of years.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. That's great. Well, Jamie, what do you want to talk to us about today?
I'd actually like you guys to talk about how you guys deal with the emotional and mental stresses of being debaters, being faces to go up against the irrationalities that you get thrown at you. Like the two callers at the start of this call, like I'm like bouncing in my chair, screaming, like, "That's not how any of that works, jackass!" But I also want.
Did you grow up in the United Kingdom?
I did.
It seems like there's less patience and tolerance for nonsense but I believe it sort in the United Kingdom. It's my designated flee to country. That's where I would try and end up if I had to flee the United States.
Jamie's welcome.
Yeah, all Jamie's welcome, even though there can be only one.
Well, listen, you're asking. First of all, I didn't do the best job of keeping my cool. I don't know what it is on Talk Heathen. I tend to be a little more fiery than I do on shows like Truth Wanted and stuff. I don't know what it is, if it's the atmosphere or what, but like that's probably the meanest you'll ever see me.
Say my joking, calm demeanor offends you fundamentally, so you just counteract it.
No, I don't know about that.
If I'm one side of a coin, you must be the other.
Well, point is, right, like, for one, everyone who watches this should know that, like, yes, the people we talk to are real, like, they're real calls, but, like, this is entertainment at the end of the day. I don't expect anybody to actually talk to other people outside of the context of this show. The way that hosts necessarily talk to us now, like that, with some exception, right? Like on Truth Wanted, I tend to model at least more of a question asking method that I think more people can use in these kinds of conversations. But also, like, I think we try to have the conversations that other people wish we had by gathering everybody that wants to call in to talk about this stuff, and then just like getting it out there, and then just making sure that our point is heard. Because like my Christianity, the Christianity I grew up with, was a very like a diminutive one, if that makes sense. It's one where I felt like I had to be a sheep in a flock. I felt like I had to be the follower, like not rock the boat or anything like that. Whereas here, I'm rocking the boat all the time because like we're having this back and forth, which is just something that the kind of Christianity I grew up with like didn't allow me to have. But obviously that doesn't work for everybody. And I don't know. I think it's a release for people, but also like it is. I see how it's frustrating because you're not the only person that's like, how do you guys do it? And it's just like, well, we talk to these people every week, so you kind of get used to it on some level. You know,
you get used to it on some level. I've been told, even outside of the context of the show, that I'm generally a patient person. I think part of it in the note is about talking to people that are being irrational. I like helping and I like explaining things, and I'm generally a patient person. So I feel like, and I've thought about this a bit, because I do things and then later I understand why I did them. It's not a good method generally, but I try and look at it, and I feel like I in some ways miss my calling as a teacher, because it's just something that sort of comes naturally to me. And so I think that's part of what helps me get through it, is I sort of adopt that same sort of mentality of like, oh, okay, well, we're talking about this interesting thing. We're both interested in understanding the truth of it. Even though, for example, like our first caller about the morality in the Bible.
Yeah.
Some of his points were frustrating in a bit, but I can always remind myself the less frustration I show, the more I help the conversation be.
That's also an example, though, of somebody who's obviously coming into this show hot, right? They're heated. And so, like, there's no chance in hell that they're interested in what we really have to say.
Shirt off, oiled up.
Yeah.
They're coming into the show hot.
Talked to too many... Jesus Christ. We talked to too many people, right, who are like that and who continuously call in and who are aggressive. So it's like, well, we can put our best face on, but like that's not somebody who's I'm interested in changing the minds of. Honestly, the people who are most important are the people who watch this show. So that people who can watch clips of this episode or who are just kind of curious and are looking at stuff, who can kind of learn why we have the points of view that we have the points of view of. Because quite frankly, these are conversations that most people aren't having in polite conversation with people.
And you don't have to. There have been guests that came here and that donated to the organization in cash here and made the point, because I was talking about it, because I always feel vain and self-absorbed because I like attention and being in front of a camera. But basically what they said is, no, people like me need people like you, because they would never step in front of a camera or talk to anyone that they didn't want to talk to, but they are coming from the same place that I am. Yeah. And so I tell myself, no, someone somewhere wants me to be this vain and self-absorbed, so it's okay.
That's one way of justifying it. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, Jamie, I don't know. Did we answer your question here? I mean, like
that answers the sort of on-air question. Okay. The one last thing I'd like to get your thought on, and because this is what I want to take away to when I'm having conversations in the real world, which are less directly heated and of course they don't have the entertainment factor. Yeah. But I do get very frustrated, even with people I care about, people I love very dearly, when we have loggerheads like my uncle Jerry. You name a conspiracy theory, he believes in it. Also, he believes in the Bible.
Yeah.
The biggest conspiracy theory of them all.
And my mom is big on woo. I called in about her taking me to the psychic eye doctor. You may remember that.
Yeah.
And I get very frustrated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to stay calm, because if I get angry, I'm going to let my point down. But if I don't stand up and have some spine, they're going to gish gallop all over me.
Yes, it is a back and forth, and it is like something that is a balance that you kind of have to figure out. But
so I can say it sounds like the thing you're describing is exactly how I feel about particular topics in American government and politics. And then for me, with the people that are close to me, that are my loved ones, that negative reaction that I feel is stronger. And what I've found is that when I'm in person with them, I'm able to keep my cool. And then when I'm driving to or from their house, more frequently than I'd like, I just think about like, oh my God, this is a conclusion or a perspective that they have. And when I'm alone in my car, I can be as loud or as quiet or as sweary as I want.
Yeah.
And if I have at one point to myself made my point with more expletives than non-expletives, it sometimes makes it easier for me when I'm talking to the person to be patient. Because I know, like, oh, okay, it's not like I can't say ever, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I just say that to myself, and then when I'm talking to them, I use language that'll help the conversation.
Yeah. Here's what I go back to, Jamie. And I'm this is a weird thing for me, because everybody knows a couple years ago there is a video that was posted of me as a Christian talking to Anthony Magdabasco for like 30 minutes, right?
It's a really good... Yeah.
It's 30 minutes of me talking, and it's 30 minutes of me saying, quite frankly, just dumb bullshit, right? I mean, I would view it back as dumb bullshit. But like, Anthony in that point in time never treated me as a dumb person. He never treated me as someone who was beneath him. He did push back, and I think he did it in a very healthy way. But that's also a long-form conversation that didn't immediately make me reconsider everything. It just put a pebble in my shoe. It was one of many steps I had to go through to figure it out. And if you remember that humanity, I always have to remember, what if I'm talking to another me that was just like me just a couple of years ago? Like, how am I going to deal with that? Am I going to have them walk away from this feeling like they didn't get themselves heard, or that they are beneath me, or that they feel belittled? Because I don't want to make people feel that way. I really don't. But it is a balance, because at the same time, those people who have those harmful beliefs often hold power in situations that you have to deal with too. There is a dynamic there, you know.
Oh yeah, living in Texas, of course, the people in power have very much religious leanings.
100%.
Yeah.
And I won't go too much further, but one last thing from the two of you. What is your number one favorite self-care technique that you do when it's all just too much and you've got to let it go?
Does it have to be a healthy one? Because
I took a shot of rum while you guys were speaking.
Oh shit!
Oh, it doesn't have to be healthy.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I like to drink myself occasionally. Yeah, I find I would say healthy answer. I go to the gym. Unhealthy answer. I play way too much video games, and I will binge and try not to think about it. Especially,
I love video games so much.
Here's the thing too. Especially after I do an episode of one of these shows, and I'm like, I don't think I did my best, and then I just I just kind of fuck off for a little bit and don't think about it. But I don't know. What about you, Jamie?
Well, so exercise is a good one.
Yeah.
I've also just sort of I go dancing most nights that I can get out there.
Yeah.
And then things like video games or we don't have enough time for me to go on a whole spiel.
No, we got to get going.
Yeah. So like alcohol, obviously, lots of people turn to recreational drugs of one kind or another. Masturbation works, pornography, basically things where you just lose yourself in a fictional world. Play a drinking game to an old classic show you haven't seen in a while, but
yeah.
Anyway,
that's all the time we got for this call, Jamie. But I do appreciate you calling in, and I hope we were able to give you some insight, maybe some release, maybe some.
Yeah, and then you should do either a gaming episode or as a fundraiser, and then totally take on some of your viewers in
while I'm
insert your favorite game.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I might have to consider
Patreon bonus. You can beat up on Objectively Dan's favorite game until he cries.
Hold on, don't advertise for Patreon goals that we have.
It's an idea that I had. It's a great idea.
Okay.
Maybe they'll do it.